Hello everyone and welcome to the iCode channel. Today I'm going to show you how to configure the iCode Duo Plus to work with your Atari video touchpad controller or these keypad controllers. The Duo has 2 ports on it, so it can work with up to 2 keypads at the same one. For example, player 1 and player 2. It connects to your USB port of your computer. I have a Windows PC running today, but it'll work with Raspberry Pi and other ones. But on my Windows PC, I'm using the emulator Stella. So that's what I'm going to be showing you how to configure Stella. I'm happen to be using version 6.7.1, but other versions should work in a very similar way. I've got my Atari joystick here connected to port 1, and I've connected my touchpad with the Starlators overlay to port 2. So the first thing, in order for the Duo Plus to work even with the keypads and the touchpads, unfortunately you have to update the firmware. An official firmware as of August 2025 is not available yet, but it is in beta at this point, and you can go to the iCode.com website. You can make sure you're registered, go to the community forums, and there's a thread there that basically will let you download the beta version of the firmware. But once you've got, and there's instructions there how to update the firmware. Once you've updated the firmware on the device, then you need to configure the device to tell it if you've got a keypad connected and how many keypads you got connected, whether it's a combination of the joystick and a keypad, on which ports, as well as if you want two keypads for some of the games. So today we're playing Star Raiders, so I'm going to configure just the touchpad for port 2 and show you how to do that, but it's easy to do both ways. So first apply the firmware. Once you've got the firmware installed, then I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here so you can see my Duo Plus screen here. So first thing you want to do is go to the menu by pushing the red and the green at the same time. So when I press both at the same time, it takes us to the menu. And I'm sorry, it's a little bit hard to see here. We'll try to focus in and see if we can get it a little bit better. All right, that's as best as I can get it. Unfortunately, I know it's a little bit hard to read, but I will walk you through it. You'll see that there is a K, which means black button. These commands map to each of these colors. So K is for black. Y means exit, which means yellow keys to exit. So I'm going to push black to get into the configuration menu. So I'm going to push black. And then notice you've got 4 new commands that can do different things. So first thing we're going to look at is the type, which is the green button. And notice I've got it to keypad 2, which means I've got connected a keypad to port 2. So yours will say something like stick pad, which means it's configured for either sticks or paddles. So you want to push green again. This means trackball. This means driving controller. And then keypads 1 means you've got the keypad connected to port 1 only. We don't want that. And then keypad 2 means you've got the keypad control configured to port 2. These double I's means 2. So this is port 2. That's where I've got my keypad connected, and the other one is automatically stick by default. And then if for some reason you want to have a different game, not Star Raiders, but you want to play 2-player and you want different keypads on both using these keypads, then you can change that to say keypads. But for now I'm going to keep it this way. Also, the Duo Plus by default will send these keys that you press as keypad buttons on a game controller on your Windows PC, so my Windows has 2 game controllers that this emulates. So these buttons will be sent as game controller buttons. And they're typically mapped from button 21 and up. So it'd be 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. That's the button numbers that these map to on the game controller on your PC. But you don't need to worry about that for now. But what I was trying to get to is this device can also emulate a physical keyboard, like a PC keyboard. And instead of sending data as gamepad buttons, it can actually press keyboard buttons. So if you press 1, it would send keyboard 1 command to the PC. But we don't want that, because if you do that, then you don't know which keypad is being used, because there's only one keyboard, and the system can't differentiate between multiple keyboards connected to the system. So I've turned keyboard off. That means there's no keyboard emulation. So all we're going to use is the gamepad button emulations. So just don't worry too much about it. Just turn that off. All right. So once you've done that, then you push yellow button to exit the menus, and you'll notice you'll have 2 different boxes. The bigger box is your joystick. As I move the joystick around, I'm going to go ahead and zoom back out. As I move the joystick, you'll see this little thing move around corresponding to the joystick. And if I press keypad buttons, I'm going to zoom in again, the little box will show which button I'm pressing. So if I push this one on the top left corner, button 1, then 2, so a little number will show up that corresponds to the button you're pressing. So here I've got 3 held down. As soon as I let go, 3 goes away. Okay, so that means it's working. It's detecting this keypad correctly. All right, so now that we've got everything configured on the device, we need to configure Stella next. So I'm going to go ahead and go into Stella here, and pushing tab on my regular Windows keyboard will bring up the Stella menu. And then what you want to do is go to Input, and first step, generally you want to map some of your console buttons. So I mentioned Select and Reset. Select meaning, so I usually put Reset as kind of like Start, and Select is like game mode. So notice I've got, so what you can do is just push Erase on that, and then push Map, and then it's waiting for me to map it. So when I push this white button, that's going to become my select key. So button 6, controller 0, button 6. That's what you see in here. That's what it did when I pressed the button. So then I go to Reset, and I'm going to push Erase here. And then I want to map the black button. So I'm going to push Map, and then it's waiting for me to press one of the buttons. As soon as I press black, notice it went, oh, it's controller 0, button 7. So that's what I've mapped those two also. Star Raiders does use the difficulty on the left difficulty for computer, and then right difficulty I believe is for shields. It could be the other way around, but I just used my keyboard for that. F5 and F6 are configured to that, but you can configure those also. In fact, let's go ahead and configure it. So I'm going to go to left difficulty, for example, and I'm going to go ahead and map them to these 2 buttons here. So I'm going to make this the left difficulty A, this one left difficulty B, and then right difficulty A, right difficulty B. So I'm going to go and do this one. So I'm going to say Erase, Map, and I'm going to just push that. Notice it says Control 0, button 29. Okay, and then I go to left difficulty B, I'm going to erase, map, and connect. And then these, I'm going to go ahead and, well, I'm going to keep the F7. It doesn't really matter. I can do multiple mappings. I'm going to push map. And I'm going to also map it to button 26, which is this button. And then finally, this one I'm going to map to here. So notice now that I've got it mapped, I'll come back here in a second. I'm going to push OK and close. If I push these buttons, notice it says at the bottom left difficulty B. If I push this button, it goes to left difficulty A. So that's how you control the difficulty. And you know, that's this one, and then this is the right difficulty. I'm going to keep them both on A because that's the most difficult mode, which allows me to control my shield and computer on and off manually. If your difficulties are set to B, then they're always going to be on, and they'll use up more energy, but you won't be able to turn them off with these buttons. So that's what's nice about it. Okay, so let's push tab one more time. Actually, I should have shown you how to map these buttons before. Well, it's okay. We can still do it in this order. So now I'm going to go ahead and go to input, and I'm going to map my your joystick should be mapped by default, but let me just show it to you just in case. So if you go to joystick, this is considered the left joystick, which is player 1. Okay, so notice player 1 is already mapped as controller 0, y-axis, analog y-axis, minus, which means up direction. But I'm going to go ahead and push erase. So I imagine it's not even mapped. And then I'm going to push map, and then I'm going to move the stick upwards. As soon as it does, I do that, it maps it to that. So you can go through each of these, just push erase and map, including the fire button, and those 5 get mapped. I've already mapped them, as you can see. Each of them are mapped. And then the final thing you want to do is map the keyboard, which is the keypad. Now, remember, I've got this connected to port 2, so we want to go to the right keyboard and map those. So I've already mapped them, so they're already here, but now for you, it might not say that. It'll say something else. So just push erase, push map, and then press the button like that. That's number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So just go through these. Well, after 9 is actually star. This is star, then 0, then the pound sign. That kind of maps to these keys, labels, as you can imagine. All right, that's pretty much it. So now I've got everything mapped, so I'm going to push OK, and I'm going to close this out, and let's see if things are working. So first, if I push select, notice that it went to 30 targets, 40 targets, back to 10 targets. So select is working. It's toggling through the different games. So 10 targets is what I want. That's the easiest one to get started with. And then black is going to start, as soon as I push black, is going to basically do the reset, which means start. So here it is. So game started. I want to turn my shields on. Notice it turned blue and the key is working. And then I want to turn my computer on as well. So there it is, my computer's on. If I push it again, it'll turn off. Push it again, it'll turn on. So the keypad's working correctly. I can also go to galactic map. I'm going to just go somewhere else, like up here, just to show you, because I don't want enemies to come. So I'm going to go where there's no enemies. So I went up to that box, and then I pushed hyperdrive. So if I go back to front view, you can see there's no enemies found anywhere. If I go back to the galactic map, we are traveling, because it's going forward. I'm going to go ahead and go to this one. So I'm pushing hyperdrive and then front view. Okay, so now you can see I've got enemies around. So, ooh, somebody shot me already. So red means they're behind me, and green means they're in front of me. So I'm going to go ahead and try to bring some of them to target. Just check my fire button is working correctly. There we are. All right, I see some enemies. There we go. Ooh, man, these guys are tough. I haven't played this in a long time, so it's going to be a little bit difficult, but let's see if I can get... I got one enemy, looks like. I'm down to 9 targets remaining. So let's see. Okay, there we go. Ooh, okay, keep him below the firing range where the fire are. The further they are... Ooh, they got my computer. So my computer is gone now. So I won't be able to turn it on, but we'll have to do it without the computer. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to finally try to get this one, and then we'll call it a day. There we go. Now we're doing 7 targets. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to push the galactic map before I die. Ooh. Go over here. Hyperdrive. Go away. Oh, my hyperdrive is also out. So I can't even hyperdrive proper. Oh, I can. There we go. Okay, they're going to probably kill my base, but that's okay. So there's nothing here. All right. So I'm going to push tab to get it paused there. As you can see, it's a lot of fun. I haven't played in a while. I have to get back into it. But you can also do the same thing on the Atari 8-bit or Star Raiders. I've tried it with that too, and it works quite well. And it brings back a lot of memories. I remember playing this game for so many hours and hours and hours and days and days at a time. Summers seem to last forever when you're a kid, right? So it was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave some feedback. It is a beta version of the firmware, so if you have if you run into some issues or you have some suggestions or changes, always love to hear from suggestions. So give me a thumbs up on the video, and go down to the iCode.com website. If you don't have one of these devices, you should get them. They work with paddles as well as joysticks, as well as trackballs and driving controllers, and 2 players simultaneously. It's a great little device, and it connects to your USB port and lets you experience the games authentically. So thanks again, and have a great day. Have a good day. Bye-bye.